And so, you've castrated yourself onto Palm Swipes After, a hot dog ways folded recap of the latest episode of Mom Swipes Left, a podcast with two middle aged women who are come dumb from taking their teeth out at parties. This is episode 43, I believe. Didn't change that. About MSL episode 182. I'm your host, Pomme de Terre. I was accused last week of being a little feisty. Sorry, but when you're someone whose internal juices can power a clock, you got a little bit of energy you got to let off once in a while. So sorry about that. This week, while a little bit of a short episode, was chock full, so I have a lot of notes. I don't know that I'll be bidding on the notebook of quiz questions and etc., although I'm sure it does make for good reading. Jen had some grievances about a weird coffee guy and two guys who left odd voicemails. And no, I'm not jealous. You're jealous. Weird things in the Uber lost and found. And yes, it's Uber because in German, and you don't want to piss off the Germans, Uber means over, above, or across. I don't know what Uber means. Down here, if I need a ride, I call Lyft because I like the way they treat their drivers better. No, of course not. I call Tuber. Of the items left in the backs of cars, 10 loose tater tops. Tater tots certainly stood out to me. That's like losing your kids in the car. Of course you're going to call. There was a rhetorical question. What can you do with a single strand of blonde hair? All I thought of was clone Dolly Parton, although I don't honestly know how much of Dolly's hair is her own anymore. The breast pump and cowboy hat built a whole scenario in my head about a new mom out on the town for the first time since the baby was born who was going to need to pump and dump. So she gets her Uber. I'm not saying it, sorry. She gets in the Uber with her pump. I'm going to say battery powered. And she brought the little cowboy hat she always puts on her son when he breastfeeds because she has realized that she needs that trigger for her milk to let down. So she puts the little hat on the breast pump and she can go about her business. Not something you want to leave behind. Starve the poor child. Happy 100 to Dad's on Dayquil. Don't listen. Sorry, guys. A lot of good talk about Juneteenth. All I have to say about that is watermelon is not soul food. It has been twisted too much into a racist stereotype for it to mean much more than that at this point. Sorry, Carol. It did make me think about that there should be more fun names for holidays with dates. Because Juneteenth is really the only one we have. Why wouldn't we have December 20 Christ or March Drunkerteenth for St. Patrick's Day? Some people mistake me for Irish. Valenuary. I'm not even going to explain that one. There was a great Slum Schlack commercial, which I enjoyed very muchly. People who perform their own surgeries, which started with a bang about Jenny's super splinter that came out at the pederasty. No, that's not what it's called. What is it? You got a manicure and a pedicure, so a pedicurative. I would think, Jenny, you would still have that splinter somewhere. In fact, you might even leave it in an Uber at some point. I can't say I've performed many surgeries on myself. I did once have a root coming out of the top of my head that I needed to cut off. That was more of a nuisance than anything else. It's like when you get a nipple hair sprouting out of your shoulder. Really tough research you guys forced me to do, and this is the service that you provide. I think you give so little information that you encourage, I'll say nicely, your listeners to do their own research. 80 kilometers is, in fact, 50 miles or so. So, yeah, kind of far to be walking to a hospital. But why not have the 6-year-old perform the C section? Here's another thing I had to look up. Lincoln's killer's killer castrated himself before killing John Wilkes Booth. For some reason, the way the story came across, I felt like it was all a series of events. First, you kill Booth, then you decide, I better cut off my balls. Yes, just your balls. So this guy just obviously had impulse control issues. As far as doing breast augmentation, yes, Carol, augment means to make bigger or add to. You know that. I thought it was interesting that the woman in the story jumped to injecting Vaseline, and all the suggestions Jen and Carol gave related to injecting into one's breasts. I always think of implants as being what you do to make your boobs bigger. Either what, silicone or saline. If you had a semen filled implant and it leaked, could you get pregnant? One of those questions I think about. I did look up breast augment enhancement injections, and interestingly, there's something called fat transfer breast augmentation, which basically uses liposucked fat from other parts of your body that's then injected into your breasts. Not something Carol's going to be doing because she's already having a hard enough time wearing shirts, which all I can say, there's an easy solution to that. Stop wearing shirts. That's all I've got for this week. Let's see where I'm at. 809, that's good enough. Enjoy your week. I'll do the same. Call me a car because I'm done with a fork in me.